Hello, friend.
When you're in a messy situation and you really don't know what the best course of action is, and you feel lost, confused, unsafe, and it seems like nothing will really help, I personally believe, strongly believe, that there is a surefire method to figure out what the best course of action is, and that is to simply ask yourself, what is the morally right thing to do? And here's why this works. It does two things for you. One, it allows you to get through the situation knowing that you weren't in the wrong. It allows you, even if the situation doesn't work out, on the other side of it, looking back, you can still be at peace and have no regrets because you know that you did the right thing. You did your part. And the second thing it does is the fact that your choices always affect you. They affect your character, which is who you are. Even if nobody else sees the decisions you make, you do. That's inescapable. You're always growing in some direction based on the choices that you make. And that's why even if nobody else sees the choices you make, doing the morally right thing is always the best option and very important for yourself. When you do what you believe is right, you're then able to live the rest of your life without regrets because morals are the best basis for what is right or wrong behavior in any situation. You can live knowing that you could have made the greedy decision, the hateful, dishonest decision, but you didn't. You were above it. Welcome to Philosol. My name is Ollie. Sometimes in life we run into situations where it seems like there's no real good decision, and it seems like the moral thing, the right thing to do, isn't going to get us the end result that we want, so we feel like we're at a crossroads. And so then it can be really tempting for us to lower our moral standards and want to be dishonest or cut corners or be irresponsible or to just yell at somebody. But I thoroughly believe that in every situation in life, doing the moral thing is always the best route to go. I want to quickly preface this by saying that you have to keep in mind that you need to do what you believe is honestly the right thing to do. Even if you listen to somebody else, their opinion on what's right, ultimately you're the one making the decision to listen to them. Only you can do your actions and make your choices. So of course I really recommend that you check your morality against logic and against the whole story in any given situation. Don't jump to conclusions, hear all sides. You're not really helping the situation if you're trying to act out of morality, but your morality isn't morality because you don't know what's going on. For example, if somebody did something wrong and you want to call them out on it and fix it, whatever, only to find out that they didn't do that thing, and you're actually just operating off of a one-sided story that isn't totally accurate, at that point you're not helping. So anyway, there have been times in my life where I lashed out or I did something really irresponsible or immature. I did the wrong thing in reaction to something else that happened, and that has never helped me. But I know that doing the moral thing always has. And as a personal example, take my last couple of jobs, and this is something I talked about in some previous videos, like your power is in your peace or hold on to your emotions. My current job right now, I'm a janitor at a gym. It's really good. I have no problems so far. I'm really quite enjoying it, and it's going well. But my two jobs before that, both of them, I quit due to being harassed and management being dishonest and things like that. And both times when I quit, I was tempted to say something to them or something along these lines, something really scathing that would make them feel bad. And things that they may have even had truth to them, and these people may have still been in the wrong, but it wouldn't have helped anything. And take my first job, for example. I remember it very clearly. I knew it wouldn't help. I knew I would regret it later. And it would only hurt this person more, even if they're in the wrong, even if on some level it's justified in a way. And even if I didn't work for this person anymore, after this, saying this to them wouldn't have helped them grow, it wouldn't have helped them become a better person. It wouldn't have helped them heal. So I simply took my boss aside the day I was going to quit, and I said, hey, I was going to hand in my 2-week notice today, but let's talk about this first. And I did say very plainly, I wasn't exaggerating, I wasn't yelling, I feel that your behavior towards me is unwarranted, unprofessional, unhealthy. I shouldn't have to put up with this, and if something doesn't change, I'm going to quit. And it wasn't about condemnation. It wasn't about calling out my boss. It was about having a discussion, trying to be productive, trying to be proactive. And it wasn't a comfortable discussion, but it needed to happen. And no, it didn't make much headway. After a couple minutes, I realized, this is going nowhere, and things aren't going to change, and I'm going to quit. So I quit. And it didn't devolve into a screaming match or anything, because that wouldn't serve either of us in any way. So by doing the right thing, taking it in the right direction, I gave it a chance of it turning out well. And it didn't, and I knew it probably wouldn't, but I gave it that chance. I gave it that try, and I realized that wasn't a missed opportunity. I don't have that regret now. And I realized that if I was just immature and emotional and calling out my boss on these honestly very inappropriate things that were going on, it still would have made sure that the situation didn't end well, and it actually would have ended a lot worse than it still did. Quitting my last job was a little more heated because it was really unexpected. It all just kind of came to a head right when I came into work before I even clocked in. And while it was more sudden and emotional, and I was definitely very blunt, and I didn't really have any patience for the stuff that was going on, I still kept to certain standards that I wanted to hold for myself, the person I wanted to be. And that really helped me, and I don't really have regrets about how that situation happened a couple months later. So I knew that lowering the standards I set for myself wouldn't help. I would not help the situation, and I would regret it later because I would then know that I made the situation worse and I didn't help them become better. And what I mean by that is, in a situation like this, whether or not the other people involved decide to then look back and mature and see where they're wrong, that's really up to them. You can't really control that. You can just do your best and hope. But the thing is, if you're in the wrong too, and this is faulty logic, but unfortunately this is how some people think, I'm sure I've done it in the past, if you're in the wrong too, they can then still justify to themselves their behavior because, oh, well, I know you were in the wrong. But see, if you always act in a professional manner, in a manner that's just trying to do the right thing and get things done, they can't really justify their behavior to themselves. And trust me, they know. They still have some level of conscience that tells them how the situation went, and they basically have to keep lying to themselves if they want to be able to live with that. I would rather deal with a messy situation now that I will soon be out of than wrestle with regret for the rest of my life knowing that I was a jerk and things could have been better and I made sure that they didn't get better. This also goes for situations where nobody is particularly at fault, like it might just be an accident or a tragedy of some kind. Maybe it's like an urgent financial situation that comes up, whatever it is, something just unfortunate that happens in your life, and it's tempting to be dishonest or to cheat or do something in order to prevent yourself or even those you love from suffering the consequences of this unfortunate circumstance. It's kind of the old question of like, would you steal a loaf of bread to feed your family, that sort of thing. Thing is, when you do this, you take away your own opportunity for the situation to turn out well. See, you already made the situation bad by doing something bad, right? If you decide to steal from somebody or be dishonest in order to get out of the situation, even if it is a totally unfair situation to you, you made the situation bad already. You already made the situation worse than maybe it could have been if you just did the right thing. Doing the wrong thing affects you more than anyone else sometimes because your choices always affect you. Your choices build your character, and your character is who you are as a person. You can't escape that. That's just how we are as humans. As a species, we're not meant to be beating each other up, cheating each other, being dishonest, hurting each other for self-preservation. We're not supposed to be doing that. That doesn't help us as a species, right? So when we do, it impacts us negatively. Even if we do it for our own sake, we're trying to get something out of it, it still negatively impacts us. We're meant to coexist and love each other. And even if nobody notices these things we do, we notice it. We know every decision we make. It weighs on us. That's inherent. And then we either have to struggle with this reality that we did something we know we really shouldn't have done, or we have to kind of allow it to become part of our identity and possibly perpetuate these same issues in the future, which of course will only cause more pain down the road. When I lower the moral standards for myself, I take away the opportunity for the situation to develop how it should. This is one of the most important points. It really is. When I'm working with somebody who is acting immoral, doing something wrong, and I act with integrity, morality, the ball is then in their court, right? It's their move to make, to decide the type of person they want to be. I already made that decision and I'm good, right? I'm good. I can remain blameless. I did my part, right? And now the situation, I know it's kind of out of my hands now, and that's fine. I'm doing the right thing. I can't be blamed for that, and I can't blame myself for that later on, thinking, oh, well, maybe I should have done this. You did the right thing. You can't blame yourself for that. And this might be hard. It might require sacrifice. It might require a lot of restraint. It can be very tempting to tell someone off, to yell at them, to be dishonest, to lie, to cheat, to steal, to be irresponsible in some way, whatever it is. Trust me, I get it. I'm not perfect. But when it comes to the chief metric that matters, which is morality, whether or not you're a good person, you remain in the clear. Now, this does not mean that acting out of morality is always going to fix the situation in the way that you want it to be fixed. In fact, it may actually make the situation dissolve faster if you're working with other people who aren't interested in holding the same ethical standards that you're trying to. And even if there's nobody else involved, maybe it's just an unfortunate situation that happened to you, you might have to deal with some really tough stuff if you choose not to take the easy, selfish route. In my case, it ended with several people not liking me, actually being quite angry with me, and I've lost some friends, and I was out of work for a while, and I didn't get to use these employers as references on my resume. You know, I had 2 jobs. I spent a total of, it was 8 months and then my second job was 6 months, and all that time, I didn't get to use those really as references on my resume because those employers didn't like me anymore. They did most of the time because I showed up on time every day. I worked really hard. I went above and beyond. There came a point where morality came into play and we didn't see eye to eye, so that fell apart. It was exactly what you might call unfair. And it can feel justified to lash out in situations like that. But I didn't. And I do not regret it one bit, because I know that I did the right thing, and that my time is more valuable somewhere else. I'm not placing my faith in a situation that is under the control of people who have no interest in maintaining morality. I have no interest in placing my faith there. If the situation is going to fall apart because I'm trying to maintain my morals, then why would I worry so much about trying to keep the situation together? There has to be something better for me to devote my energy to. If the other people involved still want to make the situation worse, then as far as you're concerned, that's still the best way for the situation to end. You're in the clear, you did your part, your conscience is clear, and that is much more powerful than getting what you think you want, through an emotional lens, by the way, in the short term. You get peace of mind, and you get to know that the people you were involved with, they're limited in their capabilities because they allowed themselves to be. It's not about, oh, I'm above you, you're beneath me. It's, hey, I have standards I'm trying to hold for myself. I'm trying to live this type of lifestyle. You are not acting on that same level, and I can't let you drag me down, right? They are more than capable of leading high standards themselves too. But if they're not going to, you can't let that drag you down. And if they're doing that, that means it was a dud situation anyway. You got something better to do. Go find it, right? Why mine an empty vein? So if it's a tragedy or something that where nobody's really at fault, please know that doing the right thing will pay off more, because even if you did lower yourself to try and get out of the situation, even if you did it for a seemingly right reason, you're going to regret that for the rest of your life. And you take away the opportunity for the situation to develop how it should have, even if it's going to be a lot harder. If you did the right thing, you can always hold on to that. I really hope that I was able to show you how a moral compass can help give you guidance in a situation that feels like there aren't any good options. And if it seems like the right thing to do won't help, please know that doing the wrong thing is guaranteed to make things worse, and you're going to regret it forever. And that doing the right thing, even if it's hard for a while, it will eventually pay off in the long term, and that will serve you for the rest of your life. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to hear your advice from your experiences in the comments. We're all growing together, and it's very appreciated. You can click subscribe and then the bell icon to be notified every time I post a video. I post every Friday. Feel free to share Filisol with anyone you think will find it helpful. I want to help as many people as I can. Check out the channel page for lots more videos and other channels that I really enjoy. Until next time, much love.